Hello, everyone. I am Lucy. I'm the sign language interpreter and advocate of the deaf people. My journey starts at about some of your age, at the age of 19, when I was on the fence, deciding what to do, to work or to continue my studies. And I had been given the opportunity to volunteer at a deaf organization. And actually, like you and I didn't know what the deaf meant, the blind, the deaf, and all that, because it's an invisible handicap. But I said yes, because I wanted to spend the 3 months while waiting for my SPM results before I could decide. So it was exhilarating, and it was a memory that I had with the father of the deaf, the late Mr. Tan Yap, that shows the way on which your compassion, your passionate, and your interest could stimulate or to provide the giving back to society. After my 3 months, I continued my studies to do an A-levels, and I volunteered at the YMCA of Kuala Lumpur, working with children, with adults, and so forth. So that really shaped up my way. And of course, after my exam, my A-levels didn't do so well. The YMCA offered me a job because I was going there every week to volunteer. And that gave me the compass of life. And the interview with the General Secretary then was a sentence that I could never forget, because it gives me the freedom to make your work as big as you can or as small as you want it to be. So that gave me the direction, the compass to see what I can do in working with the deaf community. So it is like throwing my life into the deaf community. We have a deaf center there, and it's like I've set up the parent support group, the Friends of the Deaf Club, just like what Abby and their team of the interpreters were doing, teenagers club, after school care, and so forth. So with the deaf community, I found a purpose. I found a connection, because sign language isn't just gestures. You see in TikTok, you see in favor, all those hand raising and flipping here and there, but it is a visual language, and with its reach, with the tone, metaphor, and urgency, and not to forget the facial expression as well. So, but in the deaf community, that connection happens through the hands, and speak with our hearts that listen to them. So with the hands that move, there comes our voice to support what they're trying to say. And with the hands is what other people say, that we express it through our hands. So it was a never dull moment, and that because from being a signer, I moved on to becoming a sign language interpreter. So there's always this myth, oh, you can sign, you can be an interpreter. It's not. But your knowledge of the deaf community and the knowledge of the current trends help you to become a skillful sign language interpreter. So it's not just signing, throwing your hands here and all that, but it means that you're being ethical, neutral, compassionate, confidential, and accountability. Yeah, you may see my hands moving. I was just sharing. I'm so used to signing, I sometimes forget to speak. Okay? Now, let me ask you this. Where is your mouth? Here? Right. So I was at this police station where they call us up because they caught a deaf person being caught as a thief, and so wanted a statement. So I was there, and he came in handcuffed. like any other prisoners and all that, but this happens in the police station and they wanted. So when I saw the handcuff, I was thinking, I said, Tuan, boleh unlock the handcuff tak? You know, I said, can you remove the handcuff? He said, oh, tak boleh, ini, nanti dia lari, yeah? He's afraid that the deaf person who is the thief will run away. I say, you don't worry. Then he still says, no, it's our policy. All the prisoners have to be handcuffed. I say, okay, where is your mouth, Tuan? Where is your mouth? Di mana mulut, Tuan? He said, sini lah. I said, okay. Di mana mulut orang pekak? So where is the mouth of the deaf person? He said, sini. I said, bukan. The hands are their mouth because they need to express. So I say, if you ask me to come here and get a statement from him, I cannot get his statement because he cannot sign well. It's all locked here. How does he want to move his hand to express? Oh, then he says, but if he runs, I say, you get another officer and make him stand near the door so that the thief won't run away. So we did that and we got the statement, but you could see that the deaf person was so relieved, somebody who could understand him and that he could express freely in his hands. So now whenever I go for my court interpreting or even police, the first thing I would do when I take the oath is to tell our magistrate, Yang Arif, please open up the handcuffs so that I can take or read the messages that he would reply in the question. So this has become so-called my guiding tips or myself to remind myself that the deaf people also has to need or require justice in their work. So if we don't advocate for them, they would not be able to provide the statement. So, as you can see in the picture here, are we robots? Yeah, with the mouth tape, because remember I said confidentiality. For me, because I'm short, so I need a little platform to stand up. And like we've got, I think the dancing hands and all that, and a very good hearing. I still do my hearing test. How many of you do a hearing test? But you will go to an optician, right? But never with your ears, right? Why? It's an invisible handicap. And I've met a number of university students because they put the earphones and you go to your pub, disco and all that. After 4 years of school, graduating, their hearing deteriorate and they start speaking very loud on the phone and all that. So this is my advice. Don't spend so much time on your earphone. Protect your ears. And why not? Some shopping malls have got these hearing aid companies. Go and try and check your hearing. But a skilled interpreter doesn't just translate. Or what do you want to say? Because we create meanings and we also create emotions because we are not signing like that. And there are nuances, the feeling. So we also interpret your tempo, the voice. If the presenter is speaking, today is a very good day, I find. So the interpreter will just do this. But if the speaker is, with emotions, with feelings and all that, the interpreter don't just stand there. Okay, so that is the work that we do. But it also means we are human. We are not robots. I want to relate to you this story that I've encountered in a hospital. I do a variety of settings. The only settings I don't do is religious signing because it takes a lot, to be in a mosque or to be in a church. So this happened when a deaf friend of mine was in the hospital. He was admitted, and he says you must come at 7:30 in the morning because that's where the doctor do the rounds. And he has missed it some mornings, so that particular morning I was there. And the doctor came in with his laptop and, okay, I see that you have got lung cancer stage 4. I'm like, if you tell it to a hearing person, we are also shocked. What more I have to relate to the deaf person? And the first thing that he asked the doctor, how long more can I live? I have a son who is 15 years old. He's deaf. I have my second son who is 10 years old. So all he was thinking of is the livelihood of his 2 children, and not forgetting about his sickness, of course, questions after questions, and there were tears in his eyes. But I couldn't comfort him because I was interpreting. All I could do was with my eyes, and I just showed the tissue paper. Because I couldn't tap on his back and say I'm sorry and all that, because we are being neutral, we are being ethical, and that is our work. So again, all these incidents is the emotional weight we interpreters carry. So it's in different settings. When I attend the graduation of my deaf persons, I feel exhilarated because I followed the deaf person from his 4-year bachelor degrees or his master's, and I did one PhD. The feeling cannot be expressed. You feel so proud, you feel so that you have done something, that he was able to graduate in his program. And mind you, there are almost 48,000, 50,000 of deaf people registered with the Department of Social Welfare, and sadly, there are only 60 active sign language interpreters. Yeah, remember I said the signers and the interpreters are 2 different roles. So it is equivalent to 1 sign language interpreter to 800 people. So I am appealing to y'all, and I always tell that to young people, sign language interpreting is a classic job. It won't die. Of course, you're saying AI is coming and all that, but AI cannot follow our facial expression, cannot, express our emotional thing and all that. So this is the dire state of the deaf people. And I spoke to a deaf person. He says, if you see any deaf people and you want to make friends with them, please just say hello. So we are the bridge between 2 worlds. Of course, we all live in one world, but for the deaf community, we have the hearing world and the deaf world, and we transmit the information accordingly. We provide communication accessibility for them to participate in any event like what you see today. We have a group of our deaf friends here, and our interpreters are here to support in the communication. And this is our applause for the deaf people. And if I'm not interpreting and not sebok here, sebok there, I like to cook. I'm a pranakan, I'm a nyonya, and so I do that because it is a human connections. So my house is always called the resource center, the welfare home and all that. The doors are always open to welcome the deaf people or the hearing interpreters. Of course, I do have some other hearing friends as well to come together to eat and to have fellowship, but at the same time to practice or to enhance our sign language. Yeah? And so what can you do? Doesn't matter your age, your occupation and all that. 1, you can learn sign language. There are many online courses that you can sign up, or there are also physical sign language classes. We have a number of sign language instructors among the deaf here. Be an ally, be a friend to a deaf person. If you have a company or your parents have a company and you are looking for staff, you can also employ deaf people because you get double deduction for your tax. Uh, and and be a sign language interpreter, but most of all, be an ally. Okay, so I think that's the most important part of human nature, the human connection. And so always we think that we may always not be seen and our work may not always be glamorous. I always tell people I have a whole cupboard full of black attire because that is what we wear when we are working. But every time a deaf person is truly understood, we satisfactorily know our hands have spoke, our hearts have listened, and the silence was filled with meaning. And that is us. Thank you. I'm Lucy Lim, and I'm an alumni of University of Nottingham, and I'm very proud to be here and presenting to you. Thank you again.